Tom here from thisonlineworld.com. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. As you can tell, we are not in Canada anymore. I had an existential crisis, like I tend to do every 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, and we are actually in Dubai. Check out this view. Oh my God, that is incredible. Anyway, let me just set the camera back down there. I apologize if there's a bit of noise or, you can hear the city a little bit or things going on in the Airbnb, but yes, we have moved to Dubai, to be determined when we return home. But very excited to make this video today because it's on a topic I've wanted to cover for quite a long time because it's, relevant to this channel. I know this is a personal finance channel at heart, but I also talk about ways to make money online, and that kind of ties into the idea of being a digital nomad. So today's video, I wanted to talk about the different jobs and career opportunities you can take if you want to become a digital nomad and travel and see the world. We think that you have to be an influencer or YouTuber or a trust fund kid to kind of travel a lot. However, that is definitely not the case, especially with recent events really making the world a lot more remote friendly. So if anything, I think there's never been a better time to start planning for travel when things open up and your first stint as a digital nomad, if that's what you want to do. So at this point, I've lived in Colombia, Montreal, I'm now in Dubai, and I've actually had a variety of working arrangements during this time. It hasn't just been blogging, it hasn't just been freelance. I've definitely seen a variety of ways you can make this possible. So it's not gonna be some, entrepreneurial clickbait, like quit your 9-to-5 job and go hop on a plane and live your dream. It's really just gonna be a game plan and a set of structured ideas you can follow and some tips that will make your life easier if you want to become a digital nomad. I'm also gonna be clearing up some pretty funny nomad myths and misconceptions people have about making money while traveling, so be sure to stick around and watch this one until the end. And quick before we begin, guys, I just want to say thanks again for all of the support. We're approaching 10,000 subscribers, which I did not expect when I started this channel about a year ago, and it's been a ton of fun so far. All right, so section 1 on how to become a digital nomad is going to cover the most kind of foundational important part of this, and that is your income and what kind of job you have to support you while you travel. Figuring out how to make money online while traveling is quite critical here, I think, because from what I've seen, there's kind of like two types of nomads. You have the first type, which is, they're working online, they're remote, and they go somewhere cool or somewhere they want to travel to and they work online. And the second one is kind of financing their trip on debt or a credit card and trying to figure out and learn the ropes while they're there. Now, in my opinion, you want to be type number 1, not type number 2, because you want to focus on work and travel. You don't want to be worrying about actually figuring out how to make money online. Anyway, let's take a look at some popular digital nomad jobs and career opportunities you can explore. All right, so option number 1 is just remote work, straight up with your 9-to-5 job, except you're remote. I find it kind of funny because I think there's this weird push to quit your 9-to-5 job and to be an entrepreneur, and it's really bad in the digital nomad community and making money online space because it's just not accurate for a lot of people. Now, when I was in Florida, like I mentioned, I was working remotely for a digital marketing company. When I was in Colombia exploring co-working spaces, the vast majority of people I met were employed by companies in Latin America or back in North America or in Europe. And really, this is a steady paycheck, except you're remote and kind of living that digital nomad life. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for a lot of people, especially if you haven't really set yourself up for freelancing quite yet. So the real question is, what kind of jobs are remote friendly, or what kind of digital nomad jobs can you look for? I'm gonna put a cool article up on the screen from moneycrashers.com. They're actually a site I write for. Really recommend checking them out. And this article covers different nomad-friendly jobs. This article mentions things like online English teaching, freelance writing, web and graphic design, digital marketing manager, SEO specialist, data engineer, and being a virtual assistant. So in a nutshell, you basically have to work in an industry that lets you be online. If you go to school and you're gonna be a nurse or a dentist or a plumber, nothing wrong with that, but that is much harder to constantly move where you live versus just being remote and being online. And one thing I want to stress here is if you're in one of these roles right now, but you're going back to the office or you're in the office already, you can always negotiate for remote work with your employers. That's something a lot of people don't realize, but that's how I went to Florida for my first nomad trip. I approached my employer, I said, I deliver good value, I'm kind of tired of staying here and working, I want to go remote for a little bit, what can we work out? And they said yes without hesitation, and I spent a couple of months down in Florida. All right, time for the second way you can make money while traveling and live your digital nomad dreams, and that is to dive completely into freelancing. So when I quit my job and moved to Colombia for a bit, that was what I was transitioning to. It was getting used to not having a stable paycheck, finding your own clients, and making money. So currently I make all of my income from writing, SEO, paid ads, and from blogging and YouTube. I met a lot of other nomads who did similar things, like especially here in Dubai, you'll find there's people, they build websites for people, or there's people who do online coaching and things like that. This isn't really different than working remotely for a company, like a 9-to-5 job kind of thing. The main difference is you have more flexibility because you're not dealing with bosses and clients as much necessarily, and you can kind of set your own hours, provided you're not, stuck on Zoom all day talking to clients. So it's a little bit more flexible. The only downside with this pure freelance route is, again, you're responsible for your entire income, which is why I think it's important to build that base, if this is the option you're considering, before getting on a plane to Thailand or Dubai or wherever you want to go. All right, time for option 3 for how to make money as a digital nomad. And this is what I'm kind of experimenting with right now, and that is to start an online business and run that while you're abroad. Now, this is a bit less common, and we're kind of inching towards that blogger, YouTuber, influencer thing, but it is viable. I've met people here who are doing it, and I'm kind of trying that right now with my blog and YouTube. And I've also seen people here who offer online coaching, or they do SEO. There's a variety of ways you can kind of make an online business and run it while you're remote, and it's similar to freelancing, but it's a bit more of a this is my business, this is my brand kind of approach. Now, really what I want to highlight here is you don't need this massively successful online business or dozens of employees or even any employees at all. Really, you just need to get your business to a point where it covers your travel expenses and a bit more, and lets you, indulge and have some fun and, still grow your business while you're traveling and exploring new places, but you're not really as stressed about income. And again, this doesn't have to be massive. For context, this online world makes about $2,000 per month at this point, and really that's enough for me to treat the blog like a part-time job. So I can travel to places, work a lot on the blog, and do freelancing on the side, and that pretty much covers the cost of coming to new places, and it also gives an excuse to make some content and film things and take photos, so it's kind of fun. So again, I wouldn't jump ship from your 9-to-5 job if you're starting an online business right now and it's making $0, and I wouldn't fly across the world if you're an online fitness coach or something and you have no client. But the point is here that even a humble blog, YouTube channel, online coaching business, whatever you do, can make a massive difference when you're traveling for your budget, and it definitely makes life a lot less stressful. Okay, so section number 2 we're about to cover is a list of digital nomad skills and tips I think you should know before you kind of embark on this type of thing. So you have a digital nomad job, you have some countries in mind. Really, the next part is kind of checking a few boxes to make sure, things go as smoothly as possible, because it's impossible to plan a perfect trip, but you want to kind of get as close as possible. So tip number 1 would just be to give yourself as much time as possible to plan your trip. I know it might be tempting to just abandon your 9-to-5 job and hop on a plane and just fly somewhere, but honestly, when I was thinking about quitting and then eventually quit and went to Colombia, that was months of preparation. There's things like vaccines, travel documents, you have to make sure your funds are okay and you have a budget planned. It's, there's a lot of steps that go into planning, and the more you can do in advance, the better. All right, tip number 2 would just be to prepare as much stuff at home as you possibly can before leaving. And this kind of ties into point number 1. Print out everything you need. Make sure your passport is in shape. Get stuff like, a RFID travel case wallet thingy that you can carry your passport, your boarding pass, all of the travel information you need. Book Airbnbs in advance, do all of that stuff. Take out currency, that you're gonna need. Make sure all the boxes are lined up and checked, because otherwise you'll land somewhere new and you might be thrown off by what you find. All right, tip number 3, and this one is super critical, and I think the skill required here is just diligence and really having some self-control. But tip number 3 is you have to set a work schedule. This is especially true if you're freelancing, because you can kind of fake your 9-to-5 job a little bit, turn Slack on and then walk away and you're not actually on Slack, the classic. Not that I recommend doing that, but with freelancing, it's if you don't work, you lose your income and you can lose clients like that. So you have to set a schedule and you have to stick to it while you're working. This is easier said than done when you're in a new and exciting place. And it's even harder in places like Dubai, for example, because in the Middle East, the weekend is Friday and Saturday, not Saturday and Sunday like much of the world. So it's Friday right now as I'm filming this, and I'm working away in a cafe, and people I've met or people out and about are doing fun things. So you kind of have to accept some things like that and say, hey, I'm going to work 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week or whatever you decide to work, and stick to that, because if you don't, you'll find that within about a month or so, things kind of fall apart. Tip number 4, and this is a cheesy, simple one, is just to get out of your comfort zone. I think this is also very important for solo travel. Look on Airbnb or TripAdvisor, find excursions, go to group meetups, language exchanges, walk around and talk to people. Like if you just come to a country to work, which is a lot of what I did in Colombia and what I realize now, you leave feeling like you didn't really see the place. Like sure, you saw part of it, but you spent so much time working and you didn't get out of your comfort zone enough, where it's like the trip was kind of a little lackluster in that regard. So that is my fourth tip for making the most out of your digital nomad experience. Tip number 5 is to create a travel budget and also know that you will go over it. I've tried this so many times. I've tried this in Florida, Colombia, I'm trying it here, and it's very tough because you are dealing with new currencies and the exchange rate and all of that. You also don't really know the cost of certain things. Like you can read online, yes, but you don't really know until you get there. And you also get excited and you want to try new restaurants and new excursions and do a bunch of things. So my tip here is to make a budget, like try to play within some kind of limit, but just know you'll go over it a little bit. So try to forecast for that. And that whole point kind of ties into tip number 6 for how to be a successful digital nomad, and that is to cut costs where you can. So this is like very obvious things like take an economy flight and book it in advance where you're going. But it also extends to other things like learn how to take local transit. Don't just rely on Uber. Buy local products, don't buy imported products because they'll be much more expensive. You should still try and cook where you live. I know a lot of people, and I'm kind of guilty of this too. You get somewhere new and you're like, I don't have like cooking spray. I don't have some basic ingredients. I'm just gonna order in all the time. And if this is a country where your currency is a lot stronger, it might feel like it's not really a big deal, but if you look at your budget, it probably is. So that's my tip here. It's just cut costs where you can. The exception being your accommodations, because what I learned in Florida and what I learned in Colombia is that saving $100 on an Airbnb or $200 is absolutely not worth it if you can't sleep, you can't get your work done. I mean, when I came here to Dubai, my first 2 nights, I was in a hostel with like 20 people and we had like a bunch of bunk beds. You could not sleep. There was a drunk Welshman terrorizing the place. Great guy, but honestly just insane. So yeah, that's my tip there, is to cut costs where it makes sense, but not for accommodations or the things that really matter. All right, time for the third and final section of this video on how to become a digital nomad, and that is the top digital nomad myths and the actual reality and what I've come to find since trying this whole thing for the last 2 years. So the first one would just be, plain and simple, that being a digital nomad and traveling for work and making money while you travel just is a vacation and doesn't require that much work. I mean, I've talked about it before on this channel, but freelancers on average work more. They work like 50 hours a week on average compared to a 40-hour per week job. And even if you work a 9-to-5 job in a foreign city, there's a lot of things that kind of take extra time, like your trip planning. You have to learn the lay of the land. I mean, I remember getting to Colombia, even something like getting a SIM card was difficult. Like it took 2 days. My friend and I bought fake SIM cards. All of these things add up, and at the end of the day, you're like, wow, like it was a mission to go and get groceries or to find my Airbnb or to find out how to get to the beach or to the cafe or whatever. If you're freelancing, your income will probably take a hit for about a week as you adjust to the new place, the time zone difference, the jet lag, all of that stuff. So keep that in mind. This is a very busy lifestyle, but you do it because you love it. You don't do it because it's the most optimal working conditions all of the time. All right, myth number 2, and this one is hilarious to me, but it's like the one where you work from a beach. Like you see those stock images of people and they're on their laptop, like just typing away at a beach or a pool. Not the case. I mean, if you've ever worked outside with the sun, your screen is just unreadable. If anything, you'll probably be working in a co-working space, which, can cost a few $100s per month. I prefer cafes. I like Starbucks. And it's so funny because you go places and people are like, oh, you just work from a Starbucks. Like, why did you go there? Well, Starbucks has great internet and they let you stay on it all day, whereas a lot of other cafes kick you off after, 2 hours or something like that. Yeah, bottom line is you won't be working from the beach. You'll be working from a co-working space or coffee house or something like that. And myth number 3 is that every weekend is a party and that everything is just go, go, go all the time. The reality is that we're all human, and it doesn't matter if you live in a new place. Over time, you get complacent and you also need your rest. So I think it's important to kind of balance the new excitement of a place with your health and actually just sleeping and being a normal functioning person. Like sure, you meet people and it's actually really awesome and exciting at the start where you meet so many people from all over the world, especially in a place like Dubai. I think again, it's important to kind of work hard, play hard, and then sometimes pull back and make sure you're getting your sleep and your rest. I think what adds longevity to this is having a plan to grow your business or to grow your career and to really focus on that while you're traveling, not to treat this entire thing as like a break from reality, if that makes sense. In Florida, that was kind of my approach. I was thinking like, I don't really know what I want to do. I'm just going to go experiment and see how things go. But I've found over time as I travel, you have more of a concrete idea of why you're going where you're going and what you want to accomplish for your business or career or freelancing endeavors while you're there. So that's my final tip, is just to have a baseline plan and to focus on that while living somewhere kind of cool. Well, all right, there you have it, guys. Those are my digital nomad jobs and tips you can use to make money while traveling and, you know, go and explore where you want to go explore. Really, I want you guys to be optimistic that it's possible to make money while traveling and to do this kind of thing if that's what you want to do. You know, you can do this when things are more open. You can go to certain countries right now if you feel comfortable doing so. Ultimately, I hope you're excited because I think the world is becoming more remote friendly than ever before. And of course, there's nothing wrong with a 9-to-5 job either and just, you know, traveling occasionally. But if you want to become a digital nomad, I hope this video has provided some kind of, you know, framework and inspiration to get started. Anyway, I will be making some Dubai specific content. I have one coming up on the cost of living here and kind of what it costs to like ball out a little bit or do like visit the cool spots. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see that. I'll still be making personal finance content and content about making money and side hustles, so don't worry, that's not going anywhere. I'm not changing the channel. If you have plans to make money online and travel, let me know what you're gonna do. Let me know where you're going down in the comments. And yeah, we have a 10,000 subscriber giveaway and plan coming up, so something exciting for that as well. So make sure you subscribe, and as always, if you can like the video, if you enjoyed the content, that always helps me out. But yeah, thanks so much for the support. I really appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a fantastic week. As always, don't forget to check out thisonlineworld.com for more unique ways to make and save money. I will catch you guys in the next one.